Captain America's origin is one of the most uplifting superhero stories. He sacrificed himself to save countless lives by landing a bomber plane in the Arctic Ocean. After 70 years, people found him frozen and still alive after all the time, hibernated along with his legendary shield. Although most of the people took this story for how it is, a few of them tend to find out if it's really possible in real life. And we have an answer. In the comics, physical examination of Captain Steve Rogers revealed that his blood became thicker but never actually froze. Blood tests taken confirmed there were excessive amounts of glucose that saturated his blood. This was justified as a result of his liver processing glycogen constantly. Well, such a process was capable to maintain his body temperature at the lowest possible level. This way, he was at a fainted state in which he had no consciousness, but the temperature was not low enough to kill the body cells. So, he survived the 70 years of extreme cold. We may think this idea is solely fictional, but in reality, it is scientifically possible. The process of preserving the body while we are still alive by going into deep sleep is the rough concept of hibernation. This is a very common mechanism seen in many types of animals. In this case, Captain's hibernation type is related to that of water bears and wood frogs. This process is intended by animals to allow their body cells to shrink but not freeze. Why not? Freezing can actually solidify the water content in our body cells. This means the nutrients and essential dissolved gases like oxygen cannot be transported. Then the cells will literally die. But thickening blood and shrinking cells will still make sure life essentials are transported slowly, which brings back to the whole idea of why animals hibernate: to survive extreme weathers by limiting the energy needed by their bodies. However, breaking the truth, this process was never observed in humans before. But that doesn't mean we should not try it, right? Hibernation has been exciting scientists since a long time ago. In the earlier times, people were not much clear about the differences between hibernation, which is done when people are still alive, and preservation of body, which is done after people's death. In Russia, Vladimir Lenin's body is being preserved after removing other important organs like brain for separate preservation. According to the Russian scientists of that time, they were so keen to do this with the hope that the late leader can be revived in the future. For a body that is still being preserved for decades till now, a chemical method is used to keep the corpse fresh instead of simply freezing the body. The reason to this is because the process of decaying, although at a seriously low rate, still continues to happen. Here, we can have some delight that at a freezing state, human cells are still functional. But you are looking at the wrong feature if you think so. Their attempt of preservation was actually for external part of the body. When it comes to the processes inside our body, things start falling out differently. Our body cells are bound to strict conditions in terms of their rate of activity. The optimum temperature for most of our body cells is about 37 degrees Celsius, which our body tends to maintain at all means. That is why you tend to feel weak if you have a fever, which makes your body cells less active and productive. Now, Imagine I put you in a closed room of temperature -100 degrees Celsius. The first thing that you will do is shiver. Shivering is an involuntary action to warm up your body, but it will never be enough to fight a temperature as low as this. The first detrimental effect is that your blood will start to freeze once you have minimum energy left to keep warm. After fighting for hours, you will lose consciousness at one point. This is actually a way your body copes up with low oxygen concentration in blood. Later, the amount of oxygen that is applied to freezing brain cells will be zero. If your body remained at this condition too long, you will be either brain dead or fully dead. This is what happens to ordinary humans if we put ourselves into this sort of hibernation. But Captain was not at all an ordinary man. Before we could go any further, head on to our channel to find more interesting videos. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so that you won't miss any of our videos. In the movies, Steve Rogers was injected with the super soldier serum, which gave him enormous muscle growth, which was truly visible from his physical transformation. Not just that, it is explained that the serum also changed Captain internally. It could have given him a very high metabolism rate. In the meantime, it could have changed the properties of his blood components and the way his liver and brain function. Technically, we are saying the serum was meant to set a super soldier's body at greater advantage compared to other humans, especially to cope up with extreme conditions like this. So, in hard words, we non-fictional humans by default are not made to survive in a literal freezing condition for a duration longer than a few hours, unless we found a way to handle this through genetic modification. If at all we invented hibernation technology, will it actually be worth the effort? Why do we need it anyways? You see, hibernation is more like a one-way ticket to the future. It means if human hibernation ever becomes possible, you can simply sleep to wake up in the future. Or from a different perspective, this technology can actually be a revolution in space exploration. For long-range space journeys, like to another galaxy, although the appropriate technology is not here yet, hibernation could help to keep the first-generation astronauts alive until they reach the distant galaxy, which may take a few light years. So, why else do you think hibernation technology will be important? Or is it even necessary? Let us know in the comment section below. That's all for now, folks. We will be right back with more interesting facts from Quantum Vimana.